being joined by Ebanie Bridges. How are you? Hello, how are you, Ebanie?
Good.
So,
Can I turn my camera?
There you
Perfect.
go.
Oh, you already know
So I don't have to
exactly how
hold
this
it?
works.
Exactly. She knows exactly how it works. So let me ask you, am I butchering the name by calling you Ebanie, or is that's correct, right?
Yeah, no, my name's Ebanie.
You see, I have my co-host saying no, it's Ebane. She's related to
Oh,
Bane
God.
from
I said
Batman.
that's
No.
how people say it.
He said
That's
no.
how
She's
Americans say it.
No. I don't know why Americans say that because, or anyone says that. It's like they see the I before the N. It's like
Yeah.
Ebony, not people read it like E-B-A-N. No, people read it E-B-A-I-N-E. It's like people look at my name and all of a sudden turn dyslexic.
Yes.
I don't get that.
No, you're
Like,
absolutely
that's
right.
what happens.
That's exactly what
I'm
it
gonna
is.
have to hold this, I think, because it's just not fucking working.
no problem, no
No
problem.
problem.
So, I've been telling anybody that'll listen how much of a warrior you are. Obviously, you know, your last fight, you had a very swollen and shut eye. You fought through it. We've seen plenty of other fighters, both male and female, in that predicament and not be able to continue. Just walk us through that. How bad was it? And I don't know, how many weeks did you need to recover after that fight?
I mean, pain is temporary, pride's forever, I say. It was bad. Like I couldn't see. And every time I got punched, it felt like there was a knife going through my eyebrow bone. Every time she punched me, it was like it was a knife stabbing me. But I mean, I didn't care. I just knew that, you know, it was a couple of, 6 minutes or 8 minutes of my life. And then after that, I can recover and whatever, like it's, that's just kind of how I looked at it. It started swelling up a lot, I think, around the 4th round, 5th round. And then it was pretty close by the 8th round. Like the 8th round, I was like this. And then the 9th and 10th, it was shut completely. I mean, the 7th and 8th, I was just seeing out of it a little bit. But yeah, the 9th and the 10th, it was completely shut. And pretty painful by that point. But, yeah, I know, like, nothing is going to stop me from, I would never quit. Like, the only way that I wouldn't even quit is if someone pulled me out, you know what I mean? Like, I've fought with a snapped ankle before, like a fucking broken leg almost, like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, I don't have no quit in me.
So I just wanted to ask, like, why Philadelphia? Like, a woman from Australia. What is your connection to Philadelphia? What continues to bring you back to Philadelphia to do your training camp? And I just want to say I admire that, right? Like, especially in a time with COVID, you're taking the chance, you know, in traveling to come to another country to get your training camp in. But, you know, I guess I'm biased being American. I admire and like it even more that you're choosing American fighters to prepare you. I feel like it says something about our country, but you tell us, why America? Why Philadelphia over and over?
I mean, America was, when I first turned pro, you know, America's always, you know, known for the boxing scene. And I was like, I need to fight in America because Australia boxing's like nothing. I mean, we're getting a little bit better now, but like there's nothing in Australia for boxing, you know, not even really the fans or nothing. Like it's just not big. So I knew America was always a plan. Yeah, pretty much I would come over here for weekends. Like I'd fly over for the weekend just for fights in Vegas for 4 days and just go to the fights. And I just loved it. And met a manager and I signed with Split T Management, who is obviously over here on the East Coast. And my manager, Brian Cohen, who looks after the girls of Split T, he's here in Philadelphia. And he pretty much from the start was like, he has a lot of girls, female fight connections. He has a lot of, you know, world champions, and knows pretty much the female scene pretty inside out. So, yeah, I came here, originally started training with Danny Davis. I still do some work with Danny Davis and Brian Cohen. And I've got now Kaylee Reese, who's 2 times world champion, current world champion, 140, as my, you know, co-coach and training buddy as well. So having her and all her experience is just, you know, you can't, you just don't get that kind of stuff in Australia, you know. And even in the UK, like I love the UK and I love the fans, and I got some quality fighters over there. But when it comes to pro boxing, the girls are still very raw over there because they're still just coming out of that Olympics. You know, the Olympics, the pros aren't deep over there, you know, but we're in pro boxing. So I want to be where the pro boxing's at, and the style and the experience and that with pro boxing within women's boxing here. So that's what I think. And yeah, I mean, I come here. I mean, I would like to do a camp in UK because I'm having a lot of my fights in UK now that I'm with Eddie. But because it could be easier, even less travel. But I'm just really, you know, the guys here with Brian and Kaylee, like, they know me inside out as a fighter, and, you know, trying to learn, you know, get to know a new coach and go through all that again. Like, it's just, you know, it's like a process. It's like a relationship, you know, the whole get to know and then whatever, you know, finding the right one. So I'm pretty content here. So yeah, it works, and I know it. It's like a second home here. I come here and it's camp, and I get focused, and yeah.
Ebony, Mario Munguia here. Thanks for joining us. Let's talk a little bit about your next fight against Beck Conley. You're a huge favorite in that fight. You're a minus 1,600 to her plus 750. Just talk a little bit about it, what you know about her, how you're preparing, you know, everything.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, look, Beck is very popular in the UK. You know, she's got a lot of like a fan following over there as well. And she is the kind of fighter that takes fights on 3 days notice, a week notice. She's actually, I actually did a joint interview with her today, and she said she's never had a full camp for a fight since her pro debut. Since then, it's always been phone calls, late notice, you know, 3 days, 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks notice, and always against like prospects and girls. You know, she's fighting up weights because she doesn't have much notice to cut the weight, or if she does make the weight, it's like a big cut, you know, so she's always kind of very disadvantaged. So this is the first time Beck's ever had a full camp. So I think that's going to be very interesting. So I'm not underestimating her. She's got a pretty good resume, and the people she's been with, she's had a lot of experience, you know. The shit's on mine.
She has.
So, you know, she's, you know, fought a lot of, you know, a couple of world champions in there, you know. So she has that experience. She's had more fights than me, and, you know, it's her home country. So I'm looking for a good fight with her. I think she's going to come in probably the fittest we've ever seen her. More switched on we've ever seen her because she has time. You know, and she's a come forward fighter, and she wears her heart in her sleeve, and she fights like a warrior, you know what I mean? So I look at it as going to be a very exciting fight. I just think I'm too skilled for her, you know. I think it's my skill that will win that fight, maybe my power as well. But yeah, I don't expect her to back down one bit. The only way that she'll stop is if I knock her out, I think. So we'll see, because she's like that, you know, she has that warrior spirit. So yeah, it's going to be.
Real quick follow up. Do you feel any pressure to outdo? Because you said it yourself. She's been, I mean, her resume, she's been in there with some top, you know, fighters: Rachel Ball, Natasha Jones, Terry Harper. Is there any pressure to do it better than they did?
Oh yeah, I'm not pressure, but I want to. Like, personally, I want to. You know, like, I'm fighting at 118. You know what I mean? And you know, she's fought like Ellie Scottney, Ramal Ali are all like 127, 126s.
Yeah.
They couldn't stop her, put her down. You know, Terry Harper and Jonas put her down, but she's fighting at like a lightweight or something, like a lot heavier than what she should be, with like short notice. You know what I mean? So if I can give Beck a full camp and at 118 stop her, then I think that's that will be a pretty impressive win for me. So I would like that, but you know, it's boxing, and as an intelligent boxer knows, you don't go in there looking for knockouts. You know, you go in there and you do what you do, and it will come if it comes, you know. So I'm hoping that I can do that and put on a good performance and show a lot more of my skill set. Because she's going to come forward and sit and stuff, and, you know, like, I love that. Like, people don't get to see my bread and butter, which is that inside kind of fight style, you know, because most people just go on the back foot against me. So I'm always chasing and hunting, and no one wants to let me plant my feet and stuff, you know. And hey, kudos to them, because they're fucking smart, you know. But I would like to, like, because that's the kind of fight I like. I like that kind of, you know, inside toe-to-toe fight style. Like, I love that. Like, I thrive off that. So hopefully Beck can weather the storm a little bit and sit with me. We'll see.
So was this always the plan, to use this as, I guess, a statement making performance? Because for us, we would consider Beck a tune-up for you. So for me, I'm looking at the fact that you're relocating. You're not taking it as a tune-up. You're taking it as a serious fight. So is it because you always wanted to just use this next fight as a statement-making fight? Or is it because, like you just explained, that she's never had a full camp and now you're giving her one, she can end up being dangerous? Because, again, on paper, she looks like a tune-up. It's like, why is Ebanie wasting all this money to come to America? This is not a champion or a title on the line.
Well, firstly, I treat every single fight like a title fight. I treat every single fight seriously. I never, ever underestimate anyone in boxing. It only takes one hit, Could even be a soft hit, but if it's in the right spot, you can go down. So, I've never looked at a fight as a tune-up or as an easy fight. If anything, there's more pressure on me because I'm such a favorite that if I look like shit, it's like, come on, Ev, you shouldn't be looking like that. So, I think, it was in, like I say, not a contract, but it was like with Eddie. If I lost that fight, because it was short notice, he put in a contract, because I only got 4 weeks notice for the 5 weeks notice for the Shannon fight. That if I lost, then I get a comeback fight. You know what I mean? So, I didn't really pick Beck. It was offered to me, and I do believe it was because she put out a lot of tweets, and all her little followers in the UK put out tweets, just like, I would say begging for the fight, but wanting to see the fight, and if the fans want to see it, I'll give it, and I personally, no disrespect to Beck, but I wanted something on my resume. Something on my resume that looked better on paper, but the thing is that we know that, people can go look at my box rec and they can say whatever they want, but in the end, there's some people that you fight where their records look really good on paper, but that's actually trash. And then you got the opposite, you know what I mean, where they've just taken a lot of hard fights, so you can never really, really fully judge someone. But look, I want to get through this fight. I want to make sure that I would, like I said, I'd love to make a statement. I'm not coming here just to cruise past and whatever like that. I want to really, show people that it wasn't just like, that's just one fight that I fought like that, I want to show them more of me. And I would honestly love, if I could stop Beck, then I think that's huge for me at 118,
Is Melissa Odessa on your radar? Have you heard of her? And what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I talked to Melissa. I like Melissa. She's a cool chick. She's, I suppose, not really on my radar. I would, we've even talked and tweeted out, like, me and her would be a great fight, her style and my style, because she can box, but she likes to go toe to toe. I loved her fight with Cecilia Roma. I loved that fight. I thought that was a great fight.
Yes.
I want to fight Cecilia Roma because I want to have that kind of fight, but I think me and our styles will go really well together, but again, it's just, it all depends, it's not something that it's definitely something that I'm open to. If she wants to come over to the UK, because I think that's where I'll probably be based most of the time, or even if Eddie wants to put on a show here in America for it. But you know how boxing works, and the politics, so it's sometimes not as easy as go, hey, let's fight,
Absolutely.
But I
definitely.
No, especially
like,
with the women's division, but I think that the first step is, both people agreeing to wanting to do that, and then it could get put on something. I don't think that she has your name recognition, so I can see this fight ending up in the UK. You're a lot more popular than her, but she does have a secondary title. She just won the IBO strap.
Yeah, she did. 100%. But I see her wanting to chase a lot of the champions. You know what I mean? As well.
But that's because you're. I think that's because you haven't been offered. I think that you're a big fight. I'm sure she'll make more money than she's ever made, and I'm sure she'll get more popularity. The two of you, I think her Rosie. She has like that Rosie Perez voice. The two of you. I just think a press conference with the two of you would be fantastic.
Look, we're both class ladies. We're both, we both love loved boxing, and we both really want to fight, and we both like to fight. You know what I mean? We both work really, really hard. For her, she's in America. You know, I'm not gonna like put down American women's boxing, but unfortunately, America isn't as open-handed to women's boxing as it is in the UK. It's a shit predicament for her, I think. You know, of course, it's opening up a lot more, and it is becoming more popular, but I mean, it's not the same as it is in the UK. And I feel like a lot of the American female fighters are seeing that and feeling that. But, you know, it's changing and moving forward. I definitely think, look, I'm pretty much not a cash cow, but I'm a bit of a cash cow for people to fight. You know what I mean? Even though I don't have a title, you know, it's just that I've got that huge following and the fans and the,
Sure.
you know, the interest there, that anyone that fights me is going to get exposure. They're going to want money, belt or no belt, you know, because it's, you know, fighting me will get you more exposure than fighting some of the champs, you know, like that's just facts, and that's boxing. You know, boxing's about entertainment, and it's about putting bums on seats, and that's how you get paid.
I mean,
You know, so, and I know that, and that's why I do what I do, and I am who I am, and I push it, you know what I mean? Because that's what it's all about. You need to be, you know, if you want to get fights, and you need to be able to sell, I think. So, yeah, I would love to fight Roman Cecilia, to see how I go against her, you know, because she's fought Odessa as well. I'd love to see that. Like I said, I think that'd be a fun fight for me. Like, it's just that kind of toe-to-toe action, which I just love. Like, I just want to have good fights and have fun fights, you know. And yeah, but first stop is Beck Conley, and like I said, I'm not underestimating her at all. I'm taking her 100% serious, like it's a title fight, you know. And if I can get through her, then of course we look at what's next. And I would like some kind of belt, you know, title belt or a belt to get me in one of the rankings or something, whatever the fuck. But obviously that's sorry about my swearing, but that's obviously something that my management look after mainly. But yeah.
Got it.
So let me just jump in.
wait,
I'm
you wanna-
sorry,
okay,
because
go
we
ahead.
got so many questions from the people.
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure that you have time before we continue. Do you have enough time?
Good, I'm good.
All right, because we got a bunch of questions. You want to get to them?
Yeah, I got him. Micah, did you want to jump in for a question?
I just had one question really
Yeah, I
quick.
was
Hi,
going to say hi.
how you doing? This is Micah K. So when I watched your last fight, one thing I did love is your your will to win and your determination. You didn't give up. So what is one thing, being a boxer, being a woman, and mental strength is very significant. What are some of the things you do to, just get yourself in the right state of mind?
I mean, for like most of my fights, I just look at my opponents like they're in the way. They are in the way of my goals and my dreams and what I want to achieve. They're in the way, and I need to destroy them to get what I want, and that's how I take the fights. Like, they're literally in the way of me achieving what I want to achieve, and I don't let nothing stop me and nothing get in the way of that. And I'm very blessed that my last fight, even though I lost, I really came out the winner in that fight. I believe, I think no one's talking about Shannon Courtney, and they still ain't, you know what I mean? Everyone's still talking about me, even though I lost. And I think that's a win, I wasn't really down after my fight. Of course, I would have loved that belt, and that's what I wanted, but everything happens for a reason, and it was meant to be like that. So yeah, I think when I get in the ring, and you know what? I'm a huge fan of like those fights, like Corrales, Castillo. Like, I used to watch that fight when I was an amateur, like before my fights all the time. When I think back about it, and I'm like, no matter what, like it's it's not over till it's over. Like, it's not over till it's over. You see those comeback, and that's the same in a fight. Like, anything can happen. Like that particular fight, for example. Castillo was Corrales was looking out. He'd been dropped, and then like he comes back and he wins that fight. And like, I always think back to that. Like, whenever you're in a fight and when my eyes shut or whatever, but I just know that I've also got that power that it can only take one punch and I can get back in it. You're never out until that final bell is done. Like, you're never out, so you can't ever quit and you can't ever give up. If you've already given up before that final bell, then yeah, that's when you lose. And I always think about those kind of fights. I feel that motivates me to push through those kind of things.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, so we do have a few questions from the Patreons. King Amin of Essex in New Jersey says, "Peace, champ. You were stateside in Philly recently with a fighter that I'm friendly with, Isaiah Wise. Did you guys
Oh,
spar? And since people question your defense, are you working on your Philly shell?"
People question my defense. Firstly, I mean, I'm pretty sure I was slipping and sliding and parrying so many of those punches from Shannon Courtney. Gotta go watch that fight if you're thinking that I don't have good defense. And secondly, yes, I sparred Isaiah Wise. He's a legend. You know, I've known Isaiah for a while now because I always see him here when I come to Philly, and you know, we have a good toe-to-toe action. You know, he's a bit heavier than me, but I always work around him and stuff, and we have a lot of fun. And yeah, practicing that Philly show, I mean, I was doing quite a bit of it at the beginning of my camp because I have a bit of a bung elbow, and I was really working on that, and I tend to like to drop that left hand a little bit, but I don't think that will ever be a strong defense style for me. I'm more of the high guard and the slipping and sliding kind of defense, but I'm definitely learning a lot of the Philly footwork, dancing around and stuff.
Nice.
You know, I've got that Philly footwork, which is really, really cool.
Next one coming in from Rue in the 504 says, "Why is it that women's boxing has failed to maintain the interest of the casual sports fan like women's MMA has?"
I'm gonna say this without like insulting anyone. You know, I think there's a lot of reasons. I think that, you know, obviously promoters not pushing it as hard. I think the women, there's lacks character and personality in women's boxing and stories in women's boxing as well, that are portrayed by promoters. You know, when you look at men's boxing, they tell the story, you know, they give a narrative, but with women's boxing, it's always just like, yeah, here's what do they call it? What do they call it? Like the special fight. What's it called? A feature,
Special attraction? Feature attraction.
Special attraction. Like, oh, it's a special attraction. Like, you know what I mean? No, like, you know, I think there needs to be a lot more PR work put into women's boxing. It's all about PR and marketing the women and telling the stories of the women a lot more and you know, in a wider community. I think here in America, like, you know, in general, even boxing, I know you guys battle a lot with the other sports. You've got such big sports like, you know, your NFL, the basketball, the hockey, like all these sports that are even really overpower the men's boxing. And if the men's boxing aren't getting, it's going to be very hard for women's boxing as well. But it comes down to everything, you know. These women can't also be sitting here waiting on other guys like the promoters and their manager and the people to promote them. They got to be out there promoting themselves like what I do, and that's, you know, you can't wait on other people to get your name out there. You got to go and do it, and you got to go after it, I think, you know. And I think not just that, maybe, you know, some of the skills back in the day, there was very limited pools of women's boxing, so it was always like such a big difference between the fighters, you know. Sure. Like it was always like someone just stood out and then the rest were just like not very skilled, so the fights were always one-sided. But now we got that Olympic pathway. We're getting, you know, your Clarissa Shields and your Katie Taylors, and, you know, there's even more coming through that are actually showing all these kind of skills, and there's a lot more evenly matched women's fights, you know. And I think that's definitely what's building women's boxing, is more evenly matched fights, more exciting fights, and being able to show more than just, you know, more to the women's boxing. I don't know if that. Oh, sorry, I talk so much, but
no, that was a great answer.
What's your sign, Ebanie?
My sign?
Yeah, you're not into astrology?
Oh yeah, I'm a Virgo.
Oh, Virgo. Okay. I wanted to slide one in before we keep with the fan questions, because we're gonna have I guess what you would consider a countryman in Tim Tszyu, son of a legend, Costa Tszyu's son. He's gonna be on the show. And I got a few questions for him. Obviously now he verbalized he won Castaño, but once upon a time he said he was going to send a $10 million offer to Jamel, and he's most recently expressed interest in Danny. So can I get your thoughts on Tim Tszyu versus Jamel Castaño and Danny?
Well, I think Tim Tszyu is special. I really do. And I'm not being a patriotic person because it took me a little bit to get on the Tim Tszyu hype, because I felt like obviously his first time, like, you know, all pro boxers, you know, their first fights, like, yeah, they look great, but, you know, we all know what those fights are about, you know. But then he started really stepping up, and as he stepped up, he just plowed through everyone, and just the way, and it's just the way that he wins, you know, and the way he neutralizes all his opponents, like, you know, Dennis Hogan, like Jeff Horn. Like Jeff Horn, I know like a lot of people don't rate Jeff Horn, but fuck, he is a handful, man. Like, he's a handful. I don't care what you think, he is a handful. And for some people that aren't experienced or not like switched on, then he can be a real problem for you. And he just like completely neutralized him. Like, you know, I thought that was a huge test. And I know Dennis Hogan, very experienced, and he was, you know, beating with Charlo as well, and he finished him faster than Charlo. You know what I mean? Like, these things, I think that Tim Tszyu is something we got really special. He's just his timing, his distance control, just everything about him. I think his Castaño is going to be very, very strong for him. I think that would be a tough fight, but I feel like Tim's kind of, it's like he's got like an aggressive counter punching style. You know what I mean? His counter punches are so sharp and he's so accurate. And that accuracy is what kills, you know, and he's distance control with his feet. And I think that's what people don't realize, that the timing and all that is really, really hard once you get in there. And I think that's what a lot of people have problems with. I think he can beat Castaño. As for Danny, I'm not really sure. I don't really. Yeah, I actually think he could beat him too. Like, I think Tim's like special. It might be a big step up straight away. I feel like coming straight over to America and fighting in American soil on such a big, like against a big fight. You know what I mean? Like, for that straight away, that fight, rather than coming in and kind of feeling what it's like out in here with maybe like not a step up fight, but maybe a bit of a lower fight. I think that could be a bit of a shock, but yeah, I mean, I think he can do it.
It's a good fight.
And I'm straight up. Like, I'm straight up. If I didn't think it, I'll be straight up now. Like, you know, but
not just because he's probably listening.
I think I reckon he'll do a better job than Charlo.
Wow. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a big statement there.
I didn't think Charlo won that. I mean, it was a draw, but I think Castaño was quite up in that fight, and I didn't see Charlo make any adjustments. Like, he didn't change the whole fight. Like, and it looked like he was even boxing like, not in a panic, but like he wasn't controlling that fight going backwards. He was forced, you know, he was getting pushed back. Like, Castaño was controlling that fight, but I feel like Tim would control it.
Definitely. Next question coming in from Line 6 Reed. He says, "Hey champ, what's your thoughts on Jerron Boots Ennis? Do you think there has ever been a more complete fighter?" And that was from Line 6 Reed, apparently Boots' cousin.
Yeah, you are in Philly. Have you seen him? Have you trained with him?
Yeah. I've seen. You know what? He's got a lot of hype behind him, and I think he's a great. Like, I do think he's a good fighter. I've only seen his last couple of fights, and he does look pretty good. But I think, you know, we need to see him in there, like, against someone really, you know, reputable, like, to prove. Like, he's still at that stage where he's just coming through. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he still needs to take those step up fights.
I agree.
So, you know, and a lot of those boys, you know, we're still just on edge, waiting for them to take that fight that, you know, that's going to really prove it. So yeah, I can't wait with him. I think he's great. I do think he has a lot, you know, everything going for him. He's slick as, you know, and I think he's still young. How old is he? He's pretty young, isn't he?
He's definitely young.
He's like a baby.
Yeah. Oh shoot, I accidentally put the wrong name, but
what?
Jerron Boots. He's, how old is he? Ennis. 24. 24.
He ain't too young. Danny was already. Garcia was already a 2-division unified champion at 27. You know, everyone has their own path, obviously, but
definitely.
Yeah.
But you know,
but it's definitely time. It's it's definitely time to see if he does it with like, you know, like pushing with that step up. You know, does he still look the same?
Sure. For sure.
You know,
You're absolutely right.
that pressure, someone with pressure, with power, you know, because it's either pressure or no power, or power or no skill. You know what I mean?
Definitely. Next one coming in.
Yo, this chat is brutal. They said I'm on some 1970 shit asking Ebony about her sign. It was because of the personality. Jesus. Who's next on the list? Oh my God. They're brutal. They're brutal.
Ryan O'Rourke in the UK says, you put up a great fight in the UK. You obviously know your body, and the outfit and the weigh-in also created a lot of attention for you. And the fight for your social media your social media following must have went crazy. How long before the fight did you know to do that? Also, if you got a £1 million modeling contract or a £1 million fight deal, what would you choose?
Modeling's fucking boring. Why would I want to do that?
Wow. I think he was trying to test you.
I'm going to do what I love, and that's fucking punching people in the head. Like, you serious?
No.
As for my weigh-ins, I mean, I've been weighing in lingerie since pretty much, you know, my first few fights. Like, that's what I do. It's had nothing to do with, I'm going to weigh in lingerie and get attention. I like to wear nice lingerie. I like to look good at weigh-ins. I don't want to look like everyone else wearing the same matching Calvin Klein undies or, like, you know, crop top and bra. I work hard for this body, you know, and I love lingerie. I wear it, you know. I'm not going to, you know, like, buy something I'm not going to wear again, like, you know. So, yeah, that's supposed to put images in everyone's head about me in the bedroom. But, no, but seriously, like, I just was being me. I was just being me, you know, and that's what I do. Like, you go look at all my weigh-ins. They're all in lingerie. It wasn't like, oh, I'm going to fucking fight Shannon Courtney and wear lingerie. It's like I've always done it, you know what I mean? And I think that it's one, because I love to, and yeah, like, why would I change it if I also know that it's going to bring all kinds of eyes into the sport? What people don't realize, and the people that are hating, like, we want boxing fans. We want women's boxing fans. And it's such a small niche. These little, like, you know, like, diehard women's boxing fans. But that's all there is. We need to open the gates to more than just a little niche, and to do that, we need to do something different, and you need to show something different, because if we keep doing the same thing, it's going to be the same little niche. They're just like diehards, you know what I mean? But by doing what I did, you know, I've bring in, people that might not ever watch boxing, but now they do. You know, your dads, you know, your football dads, you know, your young kids, you know, like, that are like, oh wow, there's a really girly, like, girl, she looks like a Barbie, oh cute, I want to see a fight. You know, like, you know, there's kind of all kinds of people, and then plus our drama, the drama that, you know, I hyped up, and the rivalry that I built was, you know, that's something people want to see how that finishes. You know, so there's all those things that help women's boxing, and it's about getting more eyes, not the same eyes. The same eyes do the same thing.
I got right.
You
So
know,
I had a quick question. So as far as, because that's a very topic that women, you know, women who love boxing or women that are in boxing, what do you say to the women as far as, okay, well, Ebony is using that, you know, it's no need for that in the sport. What do you say about people as far as, like, oh, she's over sexualizing herself, or what do you say to that as far as, you know, do you think, just like you said, more eyes on the sport, so that's something you are in support of?
I say, you do you, babe. If you don't want to wear lingerie and you don't want to be hot and you don't want to feel good, that's fine. You do you. You do what works for you, because I'm doing what works for me. If you don't like it, I mean, I don't know, like, that's up to you. And most of the people that are saying that are maybe people that aren't comfortable with the way they look, or aren't confident with their bodies, or aren't confident with their face, so they don't want to use it, you know. And because I'm telling you right now, it'd be pretty dumb not to. Like, it's marketing. You know, if you want to sell something, you're going to make it look fucking good. If you want to sell food, you make it look presentable on their plate so people want to eat it. You know what I mean? You don't put shit on a plate and then go, yeah, come to my restaurant. You know what I mean? Like, it's marketing, man. Like, what do you want me to do? Like, my hair all scruffy and, like, I don't know, not to wear makeup, like, because that's what women fighters should look like. Like, we should all look rough and like men. Why? You know, and if you don't want to do it, that's cool. You don't have to do it. Like, it's, you know, but don't make me want to do what you guys are doing. I'm going to do me, you know?
Yeah. It's that double standard.
Let me ask
Like,
you though.
do you.
Let me ask you a question though. When did you know this is the route I'm gonna take? You know, I'm gonna come out here and be not only the blonde bomber, but the blonde bombshell in boxing. Because I mean, I think other ladies need to understand that maybe that this was always a part of your plan, or
Yeah.
when it became part of your plan. Because again, we'll bring up a Melissa Odessa. She doesn't do any of that, and she's not signed to Matchroom. She's probably needs a promoter, right? So you kind of
Yeah, but
have the green
you
print.
you can't just go and copy someone and be someone else. You got to do you. You got to find out what it is about you that you can sell. You know, like.
Well,
like,
I mean,
you gotta
Mariciela, did you see Mariciela? Because, you know, she kind of had the weigh-ins on Smash until you came around. Like, her red bathing suit, that's synonymous with boxing. Like, Mariciela's been all around, but then it's like you kind of took over. So saying that someone would be copying you, I mean, that's just the weigh-in.
like that. No, not copying me.
Okay.
As in, what I mean is just because I'm doing it, just because other people are doing it, doesn't mean that's what you have to do. You know, like for example, Odessa, like, you know, she doesn't have to go and wear lingerie to get signed. She has to find out what it is about her and what it is that she can offer the fans and what she can offer boxing, you know, maybe that's going to get her more attention, you know. But you got to do you. Like, I'm so about being you and being real, and this is who I am. You know what I mean? I've always been like this. Like, I've always looked like this. I've always been a Barbie girl. You know what I mean? Like, so that's just how I am. Like, you know, and why would I change? Why would I try and be someone else I'm not, just to fit in with everyone else? You know?
That's a good point.
When I, you know, the UK scene, they're very conservative over here. America's different. America, you know, you guys are wild, and I love that shit. Like, you know, I feel like in America they don't judge as much in America, but the UK they judged heaps for me at first because, like, what the hell, this girl is nude. I'm like, no, I'm just wearing in underwear just like everyone else. Mine just happens to look good and have a big chest. You know what I mean? Like, that's the difference. But it's still underwear. Everyone gets naked, pretty much naked on the scales. Like, you know.
Yeah.
Sorry, I look the way I look. But yeah, I just.
Well, you shouldn't have to apologize. That's the whole point, right? Like,
No,
and I know you're not. I know you're saying that, you know.
Like, if I was to wear, I'm telling you right now, if I was to wear a bikini, you'd see them a lot more. They'd be even bigger. It'd be like
Listen,
two
I'm
melons
telling
on
you,
my
if
chest.
you wore
Like,
a brown, listen, if you wore a brown paper sack, they would talk shit. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like,
Yeah.
but
matter.
that's the niche that you got. Like, I love it. It's, you know, I'm not saying you're a
and
bad
that's
guy. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, and that's why I don't give a fuck what people say and what people think, because people are gonna love it and people are gonna hate it. People are
And
gonna
that
love
plays
you and
into
hate
the
you.
persona. That plays into the persona. You know, that attitude's all part of it to me. That's your brand.
Exactly. And that's what people don't realize, you know, like, I got my fan base without even having a fight for a year, from doing interviews, from people seeing my personality, from me being all over Twitter, doing my banter, having a laugh with people, interacting with fans. That's how I built my brand. That's because the fans loved me as a person. They fell in love with the blonde bomber. You know, they didn't fall in love with my fighting. They hadn't even seen it. They fell in love with my personality and who I am. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what sold. You know, because I showed people I was very straight up and real with who I am, and I interacted with a lot of the fans, and that's just how it came. You know, how it worked for me. And you know, that's what I think. People think it's about looks. People like me for looks. They don't. There's only so long you can look at someone, like, so many bums you can see in pretty faces, and you know what I mean. Like, to keep people interested, you got to be interesting. You know, and you got to fight. You got to
I love
fight.
the way you put that.
You know, if you can't fight and you're not interesting, people are gonna get bored real fast. You know, so yeah, it's like the whole package. People don't realize, but they just see the chest, but they refuse to look past it. The haters, for example. But people who follow me know, because they watch the interviews or they chat to me or they talk to me, and they know the kind of person I am, and I'm easygoing and I'm laid back, and I try and just inspire people and try and push people to just, you know, not push, but, you know, say it's okay to be you and just don't care what people think, man, and just, you know, stay true to yourself and do what you love and do what you enjoy.
Next question coming in from Ken says, hey, Ebony, do you think you're in a position to bring more attention to women's boxing? You kind of answered that a little bit, but I don't know if you want to add anything.
I'm on like 1% battery. This is probably going to cut out soon. I'm so sorry.
No.
No, it's all good. We also got to get Tim Zoo on, so you might want to charge that so you can hear your countryman. He's going to be on the show at 8:30 in 16 minutes. We'll have Tim Zoo live on the show. It's our Australian edition.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, sorry guys.
Yo, if you enjoyed the video, feel free to hit the like, subscribe, and share. As always, if you want to support us to the next level, head over to the patreon.com/ThaBoxingVoice. We have tons of exclusive from Border Wars, Entitled, betting shows, the list goes on and on and on. But in addition to that, if you guys have questions for fighters, trainers, and promoters, this is where you can submit them. We will run out, get these questions answered, and put it back on the show just for you guys. Appreciate it. Peace.